I came across this article in my Jewish learning regarding tattoos recently, and it resonated with me for at least two separate reasons. First, because I have 6 tattoos from my time in the Marine Corps, as well as my experience in the martial arts and growing up Catholic. Secondly, there is a young lady that I like who is in the walk who has several tattoos and is planning on getting more. I was first made aware of Yahweh's prohibition against tattooing sometime in the early 2000s. Most Christians are aware of the scripture, but we are experts at dismissing the word of Yahweh, or finding a loophole so we can do what we want to do, or worse, outright disobeying it when it is clear what the word of Yahweh says. Wayikra, or Leviticus 19:28 states, "You shall not make gashes in your flesh for the dead or incise any marks on yourselves. I am the Lord." The Hebrew phrase katovet ka'aka, katibi kek, here rendered as incision, is also sometimes translated as tattoo. According to the biblical commentator Rashi, the phrase refers to a kind of permanent, unerasable writing engraved on the skin. This is one of the times I appreciate the writings of the sages for insight. Maybe it's just me, but I no longer want to find out ways to not keep the Torah, but how I can specifically apply Yahweh's instruction into my life, without variance. I think the old adage is apropos, that if Yahweh wanted you with tattoos, you would have been born with one, and it would not be an abomination to him. Certainly if there is anything that the unbelievers are doing except for breathing and eating, I don't want to emulate them one bit, and that especially goes for tattoos. Among my many tattoos, in fact, the next to last one that I decorated myself with is a set of rosary beads tattooed around my ankle and down my foot. When I go barefoot in the congregation, I am now embarrassed that there is a remnant of my Catholic days tattooed upon my body. Moreover, when I was studying Kung Fu and Taoism, I tattooed my right forearm with the Chinese symbol for patience. Perhaps that is the literal last straw for tattooing, because less than a year after getting it, I left mainstream Christianity and understood the truth about tattoos. Rashi, who lived from 1040 AD to 1105 AD, may have encountered Scandinavians or other European pagans in and around his native France. As he wrote his various treatises for the faithful, I believe he was writing warnings against adopting the ways of those around them. In my opinion, that is the ultimate application of the Torah, to be Kodesh, set apart from the unbelievers, and to encourage each other and them with the truth about Torah. I don't believe that anyone who has a tattoo is going to be shut out of the kingdom. The ultimate point of learning the definition of sin is to make teshuvah, to stop doing it. If we don't stop sinning, Hebrews October 26, 27, is quite clear that we should have a reasonable expectation of judgment and a raging fire. I don't know what that means, but I don't want to find out, and no believer should find out the hard way. Now, I'm not one to judge in the way the world judges, except I follow judge with a righteous judgment from John 7:24. I equate the establishment of righteousness with the Torah. If the word of Yahweh tells us to stop doing something, and we see someone doing something against the word of Yahweh, telling them to stop is not being judgmental. Perhaps I'm just getting older, but I abhor the tattoo culture, specifically when it comes to women. The feminist, dare I say, Jezebel culture has turned modern women into bad B-words who don't believe there should be any consequences for bad decisions, and that every action should be celebrated as good. Paul wrote to the church at Corinth in 1 Corinthians 10:23, "Everything is lawful, but not everything is edifying or helpful." In context, Paul is talking to believers in Corinth, a district of Greece, surrounded by pantheists. Isn't Paul warning them to not emulate the pagans? If I had a prayer that I wanted answered, it's that everyone within the body of Yeshua, and more broadly Kol Yisrael, that we would return to the purity of creation. At the very least, to arrest any behaviors of the Gentiles before they influence us as many others did to our forefathers, and they fell in the Midbar.